Hey guys, so as you probably saw in my Espresso display review, I'm using Luminar Neo right now. This is the catalog, so I just want to get into this a little bit. Obviously, for photographers, there's a couple of things that are important when it comes to file capture. Maybe you're tethering, you're capturing the files in camera. You need to somehow get them into a catalog, and then you sort them, maybe tweak them a little bit, and then you go into and do final edits, and So obviously, if you go tethering, there's Capture One has always been like the go-to tethering software. And then obviously, you know, camera manufacturers have come in with plugins and tether plugins and different options, their own apps. That has been hit and miss over the years, in my opinion. That's why Capture One has been the one app that's always been rock solid and always worked. So depending on what you need to do, there's always been different software to deal with that. Obviously, Adobe, uh, Photoshop, I've worked with Photoshop since the 90s. Um, and Obviously they came out with Lightroom, Apple came out with Aperture, and now it's Photos. And there have been different apps. Obviously, again, Capture One has improved their cataloging features because they realize people, need to sort their images and working catalogs. So there's a couple of things that I personally look for when working with catalogs, or you're looking for a catalog. I've used them pretty much all. Um, the the key thing to me is how does the catalog or the how do the raw files get processed? How happy am I with that processing of the raw files? Obviously, that's subjective. Everybody, can have a different opinion about that. I've never really been too happy with the way Adobe handles files. I think the Sony files in Adobe are pretty good. Didn't have a problem with that. Fuji files, I've never really liked those. I've always preferred Capture One, and that's why I've been working with that. Um, so obviously, first thing is, super important is raw file. How do the raw files look? Am I happy with the way they handle color, noise, shadows, dynamic range, sharpness? So that's one thing. The other thing is which camera supports tethering? Does it support tethering? Um, this The second most important thing probably to me, and comes with a little bit with the tethering, is how the files are handled. Meaning, are they integrated, sucked into the catalog, and they're in some renamed aperture did that? Obviously, Mac Photos does that. Um, Adobe does that with their Lightroom, with the Lightroom Mobile and the not non-classic version. Which again, I've tried them all. Not too happy about that. I like to shoot my files tethered or not, drop them into a folder on my hard drive or hard drives, um, and then import them into a catalog and have them sit there in place. Um, and that really doesn't change. Now, it's nice for that catalog to be able to stay in my catalog and then move files within the catalog and actually change the physical location of that file from the catalog. That's a great feature because you don't have to go back to your file system and do it there. But I like to keep the file system intact on the hard drive and in the catalog in the same function. Um, Capture One does that. Lightroom Classic obviously does that. Lightroom Classic, I'm not too happy with the way it handles Fuji files, so Lightroom Classic is out. Capture One does it. their catalog. I'm going to switch to Capture One real quick here. I pretty much have a catalog open. So, we can see the catalog. These are the folders on my hard drive right here. These are the files. Obviously, Capture One has an extremely mature catalog system. You can star ratings. I mean, it's Capture One. It has great tethering functions. It has, yeah. I mean, it's an extremely mature cataloging function. Plus, it has amazing uh, features for photographers. I would say their it seems to be that their key thing is to go to for studio photographers, high volume studios. Um, the remote tethering things with clients is fantastic. If you do need that a lot, it seems like that is something that high volume studios need more and more these days. So obviously they have layers now. They have AI masks. Their color functions are great. They're customizable. It's a great system. My issue with Capture One is that um, if you get a file in, and this is one of the things here, for example, that I can have obviously mature cataloging functions. I can have a raw file and I can have different versions of that same file with adjustments put over it without the catalog actually making three physical copies of that same file. It just takes the adjustments and says, whoa, this is the file. These are the adjustments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Um, so that's fantastic. Obviously, Capture One is not cheap. I've bought so many versions. I've been on subscription thing. I've gotten it for free with my face backs. So every time I go into my account, I have like 3 or 4 uh, numbers in there that I can't really use anymore, and I need to get a new one or I need to update. So that's kind of annoying. So um, I came across Luminar Neo, and I saw a lot of it, online, and I think I've tried it before, and that was good, but I wasn't too excited about it. It was kind of like it felt a little gimmicky to me, and a little, okay, let's, drop a photo in here and make it look great real quick. Um, Not too many options to customize. So anyway, so I came across it again, saw that they've done a lot of updates, obviously a lot of AI, and checked it out. And I'm really liking what I see. So obviously now I'm in Neo. This is version 1.2, by the way. Um, and this is the catalog version. I mean, compared to what Capture One has, this is like super simple, and it is a lot simpler. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, for example, I can heart an image, or I can reject an image, or I can not rate it. So there is no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Uh, a lot of these things I've talked to them already, and I know that these things are going to come. They're going to be implemented. Um, so this is a work in progress, and I'm confident they're going to improve on it quite a bit. Um, so the catalog functions is very simple. You just add photos, and really, once you add photos, you just hit that button. It takes you to your folder structure, and it asks you, where do you want? Okay, do you want this folder? Boom! It just drops the folder right in here. Just like I can do it in Capture One or in Lightroom, which is great. Keeps the folder structure intact. There's no option to do clones or variants or anything like that here, unfortunately. Again, I told them that. Hope they're going to change this. Again, this is very simple, all photos simple, recently added, blah, blah, blah. Then you have the folders here, and then you can make albums and just drag images into these albums too. collect them. Obviously, they're not going to be moved on the hard drive. The catalog just remembers a certain collection of images, simple stuff. Um, and that's really just about it when it comes to the cataloging function. It's really simple because once we get out of the catalog, we're already getting into presets. And presets are uh, actually not really for me. This is a little bit, and again, this is AI just kicks in right away because it says, okay, so this is for this photo. It gives you recommendations, for this photo, urban style. And then it shows you a couple of, presets that they think would look good. And I mean, they do look good. This is New York, and New York preset looks actually really, really good. Um, and you can do retro summer. So they sell you all these packages of presets. So that's definitely, and yeah, I mean, I don't even know how many, there's a lot. I haven't really looked into this because, again, this is not something that I would be interested in here. I'm more interested in the edit. Let me go back into the catalog real quick because I wanted to show you guys the generative tools here. Again, key thing, if this catalog, if this, if Neo wouldn't handle my raw files in a way that I really like and I think is great, I wouldn't use it because I don't really have any, I don't, yeah, there's no use for it. In my opinion, it does an amazing job with raw files. I don't know how they do it because I think that might be the hardest thing to do. They did a great job. Fantastic. Uh, Gen Erase, Gen Swap, Gen Expand, these are classic stuff. It's the same thing as we get in Photoshop. Um, with, I would say, similar results. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it works, it's mind-blowing. If it doesn't work, it just looks really silly. But they're doing a great job. Again, a lot of the stuff is actually uploaded to sent to the cloud. Um, does its magic, and then it comes back and does it. It looks, from what I've seen, again, this is not better or worse than Photoshop. Um, it's about the same, I would say. They have HDR merge, focus stacking, panorama stitching, upscale, which I've tried. I haven't tried HDR merge, focus stacking, or panorama stitching. I've tried the upscale. It works pretty well, but it's only outputs JPEG. So, and I'm shooting 100 megapixel files, so I haven't really tried it with a small JPEG to upscale it or something. So, presets or edit. So we're in the edit now, and this is where things get interesting because we have the layers. Again, I feel like Photoshop has gone from, and again, I've worked with Photoshop since the 90s. And the interesting thing is that, everything was added. Like, I think I've worked with Photoshop since Photoshop 2 and 3. I think they added layers. Um, but Photoshop from the first moment on was more or less was made by 3D animators. The guy who ended up doing Star Wars, special effects guys. So over the years, a lot of stuff that was added to Photoshop, a lot of the stuff that came into Photoshop, I never had any use for it. I've been saying, like, I used to use maybe 25% of Photoshop. Then I used maybe 15% of Photoshop. Now I feel like I'm using 5% of Photoshop, a couple of tools for retouching, and a lot of it is actually going into Photoshop to use plugins that now are pretty much freestanding apps anyway. It's just sometimes easier to just go into Photoshop and just do the plugin there in a layer or something like that, which even oftentimes the plugins now do it. This is actually also can be used as a plugin in Photoshop and Lightroom, I believe. Um, which again, I actually prefer this to Lightroom, and I prefer the way it handles the raw files. So I'm not really sure why I would go into Lightroom. Um, but to each its own. So obviously you have layers. There's opacity, flipping, basic stuff. This is not, there's AI crop. I'm not sure, I'm really sure about that. Enhance, and this is like the first slider that I noticed, and you just, take the slider and you just drag it, and you notice right away that there's something interesting at work because it doesn't just uh, doesn't just do contrast or something. No, it does everything. It like opens up the shadows. It does everything. This is AI, and it does it extremely well, extremely fast on a 100 megapixel file. It just does a great job. Boom. And even the sky enhance, if you just want to do the sky, um, it's great. That's a one slider thing right there. Um, the Sky AI is, in my opinion, a lot better than the Photoshop one. You just click on this. I'm gonna apply, what is this, Starry Night. Boom. That was pretty fast. And you can do all these orientation, refinement, blah, 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 relighting. But it's extremely fast, and it's just there. So going on to noiseless, noise removal. Haven't tried that. Don't really use it that much. Super sharp. I've tried that. I've gotten some funky results, but all in all, super sharp works extremely well. Um, in my opinion, it works better than any sharpening in Photoshop. Uh, and it, yeah, I mean, with face enhancer, again, everything this does is it takes into consideration all the actual objects in the image. Like, is this a house? Is this a tree? What is the sky? What's the foreground? What's the background? And then it applies the AI according to that. Develop is just a basic exposure, you know, smart contrast. Again, the stuff is really, really, it's not just a dumb slider. Um, I feel like especially in Capture One, which has obviously amazing color options and features and fine tuning. Um, this does an incredible job because it really takes everything into consideration. Every single one of these things has masking built in. So you can have brushes, linear gradients, AI mask, object select. You can just select, houses and everything. It works really well. Erase is a great retouching tool, and I find it better than what Photoshop has to offer. When I say that, for example, it has remove power lines, and it actually works pretty well. For real estate, that's fantastic. Um, it and again, it doesn't. It's kind of a in between of a couple of Photoshop tools that I use, and again in Photoshop, I try this tool, and I go back and I'm like, okay, I should try this tool. This is kind of an in between, and it does a great job. It's really simple. Structure, again, it's AI. It's not just, oh, let's bump this contrast, this micro contrast up in here. The color stuff is very in depth. I haven't even used it. Again, this is, it really does everything that I haven't even touched this. There is a great slider here again, remove color cast. And all this does, this is it goes from 0 to 100, and it's a really subtle change, but it makes it just does a great job of just making a little change, just what you would want. Um, and again, so far, I've really only touched two sliders here. And the images, right there. Vignette. We have sun rays, you know, stuff like that, which is, yeah, it's there. It's extremely adjustable. I've actually used this once, and it looks really good, I have to say. Yeah, Twilight Enhancer, typical situation of really smart use of what this does. So because it doesn't just, okay, we're gonna, you know, give it a certain look. So it takes into consideration that there's a skyline here, there's houses here. Where's the sky? Where should I drop the color in behind the houses? How do I, you know, how do I treat the foreground? How do I treat the background? Um, so it does a extreme, I mean, it does a great job. And again, you can change anything from sky temperature, you know, it's, yeah, a lot of things. A lot of these things can also be saved into presets. So you can adjust this stuff and then say, okay, I just want to turn this into my own preset and say that atmosphere brings fog in. Landscape is another great thing. This is golden hour, which again, it just, see, usually if you would take the color temperature slider, it would change the sky. You would have to mask out the sky. This does a great job on just giving it a little bit of that glow. Um, Water enhancer works really well too. It just literally just water enhancer means you're standing by a lake. The lake looks a little green or muddy or muggy, and it'll just turn the water blue. It's great. Simple stuff. Relight is another thing that brightness near, brightness far. This works better with people photos because I'll show you guys this later. Again, we can go through every single thing here. The one thing that I use a lot is just LUTs. And these are just some of the built-ins. You can just give it a quick look. There is custom ones that I downloaded, and I don't know, 100, I don't even know, too many. But again, these are, you can buy some, lots of stuff. Glow, blur, film grain. There is the portrait stuff is great because it gives you, lets you relight things. Face light is fantastic. The skin, they are coming out with their own software just for retouching, which I pre-purchased that. I'm really excited about it because if it's anything like what they're doing for landscapes and what they're doing with the portrait stuff here, it's going to be a game changer because it really just does a great job of taking everything into consideration, taking the scene into consideration. Um, it it works really well. Photoshop does not have anything like that. I mean, I know that Photoshop has a AI thing, like a beta thing where you can turn on skin retouching, and it's horrific. I don't even know why. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how bad it is, in my opinion. Um, Photoshop has that face thing where you can turn a face into a smile, or you can give people a smile, and it's just, I, I think that that software they're coming out with here is going to be able to do that as well. I think it's just a little freaky, so whatever. Um, Again, super contrast, just highlights, midtones, shadows. It's a great contrast slider. I haven't seen this in Photoshop. I haven't seen it in Capture One. Um, Color harmony is another slider that is just absolutely amazing because it kind of finds a balance between cool and warm. This is not a color temperature slider. So they're pretty much, from what I've seen or what I use here, there's like three sliders where I can control the uh, overall color of the image without actually going into the color temperature. Because whenever I go into the color temperature, I always feel like, ooh, this is, it's just too much in this or too much in this, because it affects the image overall all the time. This just does a great job. Uh, and again, you can get into color contrast and split, and blah, blah, blah. Dodge and burn and clone. So it does absolutely everything you need in terms of image manipulation, and it does it really quickly. Like, you can get your result faster than any other software I've ever used, uh, with a more finished look, in my opinion. It's great. You can get into masking, you can do the fine tuning, you can take this and this and this. Um, Great. I haven't really played with this too much in terms of what I would say a collage, or taking parts from one picture to another picture. Um, so I haven't really worked with layers that much. I don't really do that much anyway. So I don't know. I have to look at that a little more. Um, but that's pretty much it. When you're done, there's an export, and again, it's just super easy to disk. Uh, there's a disk version. Oh, my light just went off. Okay, sorry about that. Um, I can save it to disk as a TIFF, or a JPEG, or whatever I want to do with that. Messages, mail, very simple stuff. It does not have a print dialog at all. Actually, does it have a print dialog? Let me see. Oh, it has page setup and print, which probably takes you to the general system setup. Again, I don't really use that. I use Epson print layout. I prefer that. Um, this is, you can export to other, you can open it in other uh, apps. I wish I could customize this list right now. I can't, which is kind of a little weird to me, that they don't allow that. But you can see even this is very, very simple in terms of what the options are here. The This is where things happen, and it's just tools and then edits. And this is a interesting thing as well, because the edit shows you everything that we've gone through just pops up here. So these are the edits that we've done on this image, even if I haven't done it, because I turned the sun rays on and then I turned it off again. So I can just delete them from here. Same thing with the sky. I turned it on and I turned it off, so I can delete it. So I can go through here and just delete everything that I want to delete. And just go back to tools, and yeah. So just to kind of sum this up a little bit, as you guys probably saw from other uh, videos that I've done, I'm not a big, I'm not really happy with the way Adobe handles AI, and in general with the subscription model and everything. I'm not a huge fan. And honestly, I haven't been too impressed with the tools that they've come out with and with the features, a lot of which I don't use. And when I do use them, I'm not too impressed with them actually. So I guess I'm trying to get rid of Photoshop, which I probably won't. Not yet, maybe. But I don't really feel like that about Capture One, because Capture One, I'm not really offended by Capture One. I think they do a great job. They just cater to a slightly different clientele, and I think they're focusing on that. Kind of the same thing as with Phase One. They they're not interested in selling thousands of cameras. They're interested in selling to a specific clientele the best camera that they can possibly make, or that anyone can possibly make. Um, and that's fantastic, and I congratulate them on that. But a lot of the stuff they do and they come out with and improve on, I don't really need. I need other things. And in Capture One, I always find myself, oh, do I have to go to Photoshop to do this, and then I want to do the color here, and then I go back and forth. And not too big of a fan of that. So here, this is right now they're having a sale on this. The catalog does everything exactly what I needed to do. I can go here, I can do quick adjustment, I can copy adjustments, uh, paste adjustments. I can go to an album, move it to trash, show in Finder. If I want to open this up in Epson print layout, I just go right now, I would go show in Finder and then click there and open it in Epson print layout to print it. I don't need a print interface in Adobe anything actually, or Capture One, because anytime Epson updates their drivers, anytime anyone updates the drivers, all the profiles, the paper handling, everything's out of whack again, which is why I'm a huge fan of print layout. Um, so this is a fantastic software that does everything more or less. I wish they had a mature rating system for files, and I really wish they would have variations or whatever they want to call it, variants or clones or of images to be able to say, especially since they have all these great presets and all this great stuff built in. So it'd be nice to say, okay, let me see, let me see a variant of this and attach a preset to this. Let me see it in black and white and have a couple of different variants of that raw file. That would be something that I would really like to see. Again, I think that the retouching software that they're going to come out with, I think it's coming out in September or something. I'm really looking forward to that, because I think if it's anything like this, or what they're doing to landscapes, it's going to be a game changer. So I'm looking forward to that. But so far, this is my new go-to thing. It doesn't do tethering. Fuji came out with a tethering app, also a plugin for Lightroom. I used to have a plugin for Lightroom for tethering. It was awful. It took forever for the files to come in, and then Lightroom, blah blah blah. It was awful. This is literally the Fuji app that just connect the camera. It's a really simple app. Does everything, even does overlays and stuff, and just saves it to a folder. And I was like, oh great, now I have it in this folder. Well, I don't know if this is gonna be. Can I bring it in here and look at it here? So I just tried it, imported that folder here, and the second I shoot into that folder, it just pops up in here. So it's like a watched folder, which Lightroom has had, and it works really well. I think it's might be faster than Capture One, because obviously it's made by Fuji, so maybe they have a secret thing here. But yeah, this it works. It's fast. Sometimes there's a little bit of a redraw delay in there. I mean, again, I'm working with huge files. The catalog size is also surprisingly small. So I don't know if they even save previews. I mean, Lightroom catalogs enormous. Capture One catalogs enormous. This surprisingly small. I was actually like, okay, is this even doing this? It might redraw the file every time, which might make it a little slower, but it definitely keeps the file sizes down of the catalog, which is great. Again, wish I could see variants of the files. I wish I could see a better rating system, and I'm looking forward to the retouching functions. But other than that, I think this is going to be my new go-to software for pretty much anything, landscape, anything. So yeah, super excited about that. Figured I would share that with you guys, and thanks for hanging in until now, if you did. Thanks.